Alright, so now we're going to be covering Mechanim. Now Mechanim is an animation system new to Unity 4. Now what Mechanim allows us to do is seamlessly blend together different types of animations to create a more realistic look. So we want to go ahead and import a package from the Asset Store. So we're going to go to Window, Asset Store. Let it load up. Alright, and then you want to go ahead into the animation under the category section and click on bipedal. You want to find one that says raw mocap data. Go ahead and click on that one. This is a free asset from Unity, and it has a whole bunch of different animations that we can use. Now mocap stands for motion capture, so it's a bunch of motion capture type of animations. So it's free, like I said before. So go ahead and import that into your scene. Go ahead and download it, then import it. I've already downloaded this one before, so I'm just going to go ahead and click on import. And I'll go ahead and come back after it's done. I'm just going to go ahead and click on import here. And it might take a little bit of a while, so I'm going to go ahead and speed this up. Alright, so now that we have our raw mocap data asset imported into our scene, let's go ahead and take a look at it. So I'm going to go ahead and open up the folder. We have different folders in here. We have an animations folder. We have our actual default avatar, which is our prefab of our character. And then we have a few other folders in here as well. Let's go ahead and click on our default avatar. Let's go ahead and take a look at the rig. So right here we have animation type. Right now it's set to humanoid. So the other ones in here are none, which is obviously no animations. We have legacy, which is the older animations. Then we have generic, which is anything that doesn't fit into a humanoid type of animation rig. Things like animals or bugs or anything like that. But we have a human, so we're going to go ahead and select humanoid. Then avatar definition, we have create from this model. And then we also have copy from other avatar. We're going to go ahead and select create from this model. Alright, go ahead and click on configure. Now by default, we can see that our character is in this T-pose. And we can take a look at all the bones of our model here. So on the right hand side, we can see all the bones right here lit up. So we have the hips. Now if you go ahead and select these, you can see the actual bones that are referencing in this list right here. So hips are right here. Then we can select spine. Then we can select chest, which is this one right here. You can also select the individual bones in here, and it'll show up over here. Now right now everything is green in our this little diagram over here, and that means that everything is good to go. There's no problems. But let's say you have a different naming convention in here for your bones, or let's say you're using a wrong bone. So I'm going to go ahead and select on my chest, and I'm going to go ahead and move in the left shoulder bone in there. You can see automatically it turns red, and that's because this bone is in the slot for our chest, so it doesn't recognize that this bone should be there. First off, that bone is being used twice. But let's say you had a different name for your chest bone. Let's say it was a front body bone. The naming convention would not fit with the naming convention that Unity recognizes, so you would get this red section right here. So I'm going to go ahead and select the chest again and just drag it in there. And now everything's green. So if you have anything red on your model over here, that means that Unity does not recognize that bone, or there's an issue with that bone. Alright, you can tell that some of these little circles have little dotted lines around them. That's an optional bone, meaning you don't need to have that bone in there. So if we click on these, you can see that we actually do have those bones, but they're not required. And you can select your head. You can see once again we can have eye bones. We have our head bone, and we can have a jaw bone and then a neck bone. Same thing with your individual hands as well. Now by default our character is in the T-pose, but if he's not in the T-pose, you can go ahead and select the drop down menu right here from pose, and you can select enforce T-pose. Alright, so if you made any changes, go ahead and hit apply, then go ahead and hit done. Alright, let's go back into configure. Yes. And I'm going to name this Mechanim. Click save. Alright, and then we have mapping, and then we have muscles. So go ahead and click on muscles. Go ahead and zoom in on your character here. Now the muscles determine how how much range of motion we have in our muscles here. So if we take a look at him right now, you can see he's kind of bent over a little bit. He's kind of bent, and that's because the muscles are being affected. So right now, in this one right here, we can have open and close. So we go ahead and slide this back and forth. You can see, how much movement he has right there, left and right, in and out. So he's pretty flexible. So if we go down to the per muscle settings, you can adjust the range of motion between the different muscle groups. So go ahead and click on body and click on spine, front, back. And if you zoom in right here, let's see if we can zoom in a bit. A little bit hard to see. Let me see, where's that? It's a little bit hard to see this one. Oh, there it is. You can see that little triangle right here. This is the range of motion. So if we go ahead and move this, you can see the range of motion of our spine. Now if you open this up, you can adjust the range of motion. So go ahead and take a look at this. And if I go ahead and reduce this, let's say change this down to 5, you can see the range of motion is very, very small right now. So if I go back and forth, you can see he barely moves. Go ahead and increase this. You can see that he's going to be able to basically hit himself in the head with his knees. So I'm going to go and change this back. I believe it was -40 and 40. Alright, so you can do that for the individual muscles. You can see we have different ones in here. We have the right arm. You can see, if we zoom out a bit, you can see his right arm right now, the range of motion. So go ahead and mess around with some of these if you want to change the range of motion for these. All right, but we're not going to go ahead. We're not going to spend a whole lot of time on this. I think you got the idea. And you can also adjust the different settings right here for your upper arm twist and all your other, like your feet spacing. If we go ahead and change this right here. Now, some of these settings will not be seen right now, but you'll see these once you actually start playing with animations. So I'm going to go ahead and change this back down to about right there. I'm just going to go ahead and hit revert, go back to where it was, and click on done. So that is our muscles. Alright, so that's it for this video. We're going to go ahead and take a look at animations in our next video.